Hey guys, Ranching New Appeal commentary. This is gonna be the third set between Great and Kal in the PDPOP MSL quarterfinals. This is gonna be played on Dante's Peak. And at the bottom left position playing is the teal or aquamarine zerg. We're gonna have Great representing Samson Khan. At the upper left hand position playing in brown is the Protoss player. We're gonna have Kal, aka GOOJILA, representing STX Sola. And of course, Great is also known as Hades, but who cares about that? It's so confusing when they have more than one name. You don't know what to do anymore. So 1-1 so far. And this could be a bit of a tough game for Kal here, despite him coming back ahead. This is a very, very Zerg-friendly map. A lot of expanding, a lot of room to maneuver, a lot of spaces to do funky things and surround and destroy a Protoss army. A lot of ways to deny Protoss continual expansion. So big army fights aren't always the best for Protoss. If they try to move out and kill Zerg expansion, Zergs can easily counterattack and do equal to more damage and just come out ahead. So it's gonna be an uphill battle on this one. Quite understandable why this map is not played twice. You would not, as a Protoss player, you would not in any way want this map played twice if you're playing up against a Zerg. That would just be plain old bad. Gonna be seeing, seems like an overpull. Seems like almost a delayed overpull by Great here. On the opposite side, we're gonna see what Kal goes for. I assume it's gonna be a Forge Fast expand, but I've seen him do funky things before. So I will not be surprised if something else happens. Drone coming off the line here. Seems like he's just gonna go out to scout. Yeah, it's a little bit early for the expansion so far. Kal thought otherwise. He's like, okay, I'm just gonna chill out here when he decides to expand, because I know he will decide to expand. And the drone actually might be an expo, just taking that third expo quickly right to the lower right hand corner, because then you can just transition on, and that's gonna make picking up a fourth base that much easier. Drone's finally coming off the line here, and the probe's gonna make sure nothing's doing there. Forge on the way. Might be seeing Nexus before cannons, but with a spawning pool already on the way, would not be a bad idea. But I think generally in overpull you should be fairly safe putting down the Nexus before cannons. You'll get the minerals fast enough for you to be able to put up almost 2 cannons just in time for the Zerglings to come out. Actually, not a lot of Zerglings being popped. So yeah, all those minerals being used on expansions and all that, instead trying to conserve some to do some aggressive maneuvering. So he actually did not need to put down that single photon cannon at all, but decided to do that anyway. Seems like the expansion at the bottom right, natural expansion, is going to be put up. Oh, drone! Whoa, one more hit from Kal. That would be huge. That would be huge. It's healing up in the time that it takes, and Kal doesn't quite get the maneuvering done. 2 Zergs is going to pop out. That probe's going to be on that drone. Like, yeah. Oh, barely managed to put up the extractor. Heal on the drone. Might have been nice play there. Barely managing to get in time, maneuvering around a little bit until he had the resources, then putting up the extractor. Very nice play. On the opposite side, do see Apollon being put up inside the main base, as well as the gateway outside the front. Do see the third hatcher being put down at the natural expansion of Great. Even though Great's natural expansion sounds a lot better, sometimes you just have already set something and you cannot take it back. Probably gonna stay alive in there for as long as humanly possible. With that few Zerglings in there, shouldn't be too hard. I think Great might have actually sent 1 Zergling out scouting. Not too sure. Will we see a second cannon as well? But there's not really any pressure. Okay, 1 Zergling just going to the lower right-hand side just to check out whether there's anything funky going on there. 1 Zergling back at base. Great, just playing very passive right now, working his economy, knowing his opponent's doing pretty much the same. Kal not going for any sort of crazy aggressive maneuvers. Getting an early Overlord scout in the right direction must have been a big help, because I think he got the Overlord scout in the right direction early on. Unless I was smoking. Yeah, he did. Thought I was smoking crack for a second. I'm not. Cybernetic cord almost on the way inside the main. Kal probably going to feel very safe. Doesn't see any sort of aggressive maneuvers being put up. Lair going to come up at the natural expansion at the lower position just to keep it safe. That is kind of a little bit further off. Of course, upgrading to a Lair. For one thing, it hides the tech. Kal doesn't know it's up yet. So he's like, wait a minute, the Lair should be on the way soon. What's going on? I saw a drone move around. It never went into my base. Probably there at the lower end position. Better check that out. Let's target on the way. Meanwhile, should have some Zealot or 2 already on the ground. Definitely 1. Might go up, move out, and put in a little bit of pressure, because there hasn't been a lot of defensive units for Great's. Put up a few Zerglings here and there, but overall hasn't really done much. Focus on the economy right now. The Lair at the lower end position, of course, going to give some extra health to that hatcher. I think I already mentioned that. I'm smoking crack. I'm sorry. I lied 2 seconds ago. I am, in fact, smoking crack. Stargate going to be 1 up there. don't really foresee him going for something crazy like last time, going for double Stargate. No real reason to do that. Spire just now on the way. No quick Spire, no need to go for any insane air harassment. Instead, just work on a ground army and expect some fairly standard plays. Are going to come in here, might get a drone, not going to get a drone. Just going to try to run around and survive for as long as possible. Going to be boxed in. But actually, that's actually the best position for him to be. Nice coming out. Beautiful play. Bit of a mistake. Might get a second drone. Gonna get a second drone. Zealot giving his life for ire there. 2 drones taken out. Nice micromanagement there. Getting into the little choke so you can fight one zergling at a time. Then Great makes the mistake of giving him an opening to run back to the drones. It kills him off. Has 2 Zealots alongside a cannon to defend back home. Going for another gateway very quickly. I usually see Protoss just sit on that initial gateway for quite a while. But going for a citadel right now. So he's just going to go standard ground army. Might skip DTs. Kal really not the best of DT players. I mean, sure, he's like any Protoss player, but not really in the highest levels. He's more of a just large army guy. So going straight for High Templar or just going straight for Goon Zealot might be the best strategy for him. Going to go in there with those. With that Corsair, going to be able to pick up at least 1 Overlord, get the scout information. So I'm not sure. Pretty sure he spotted the lower end position. I'm pretty sure he knows about it anyway. That's for sure. Well, the tech going on, just spotting out everything he needs to know back home. Only a few zerglings there to threaten him. Second cannon going to be put up just in case, but I really don't think it's going to be necessary unless Great decides to go for a spontaneous Hydra bust, which he won't because he doesn't have a Hydra den for one thing. And I think by the time he tries to get it up right now, there will be enough for Kal to go on and defend it. Attacking 2 Overlords at the same time, so at least 2 Overlords are going to go, unless those Scourge get there just in time. 1 Overlord going to be put down here. There's another Overlord in danger. Corsair trying to fight back there. Not getting that fire in time. Should be able to run home. Fly home, rather. Yes. Fly home, rather. And defense to the cannon. Meanwhile, a lot of Corsairs. 2 more Corsairs going out there. Kal thought for a second he would have picked that off with the rest of the damage, but did not. But 3 Overlords being picked off early on, 2 drones being picked off, and 3 Overlords. This is actually a very nice, very good start for Kal here on this map that's not very favored for him. Great. Going a little bit too hard in the academy, not a lot of defense here. Taking all of his drones off the line to hug. Speed, weapons 1 still not there, so the Zealots not quite doing optimum damage yet, but they're going to be able to do a lot of damage here. Almost no zerglings to defend. Great doing a nice job, though, of defending that sunken colony, but losing all those drones. Few of the Zealots still alive. 1 Mutalisk coming in here. Weapons 1 upgrades. Sunken colony going to go down, so even more damage going to get done. Nice push out here by Kal. Great definitely did not expect that. Did not know about that second gateway, and did not expect this push. Even more drones going to be taken down. Very nice early game advantage being taken up by Kal. Meanwhile, he can just prepare his defenses a little bit back home. A lot of Mutalisk out there. He should be getting his Corsair count higher up, actually sending yet more Zealots out there, spreading the defenses very thinly. Nice damage overall, and there's a fangirl hiding her face as they always do. Zealot up front actually going to run back, fight for ire. We have to fight another day. Yet another drone going to go up. 1 Zealot there with 4 kills. I assume other Zealots with even more kills. 1 Zealot still inside the base alive. I can't jump down this ledge, and therefore I died. But a lot of harassment taking down the brigade. Seeing that shows expansion. There's only 2 drones mining there. And meanwhile, Kal is going to be able to get his economy up, canning it up like crazy, putting up photon cannons and pylons. So he's being very safe. Has High Templar on the way as well. As long as these don't get picked up by the Mutalisk, he'll be fine. He's actually combining them into an Archon. Very smart play. Great was forced to go heavy Muta because of that pressure. He was forced to get as many defensive forces as possible. He's still, Kal meanwhile, still getting some Corsairs out there. Has that cannon back home to defend. He's going to be in a very good position overall to defend against any possible aggressive maneuvers from his opponent. Being forced to put down extra sunken colonies is going to put down fourth base at that lower right-hand position main, but I don't really think he's going to be able to focus too hard on adding any drones to it. But I still think if he tries to just win by economy, he can still have a chance, because Kal has 2 bases, and it is very hard for a Protoss to expand on this map. It is very hard. Much easier for a Zerg against the Protoss because they can deny expansions very easily. So that's the game I'm sorry, Hades Great has to play the economic game, has to play the long-term game here. The longer the game goes on, the more chance it is that Great might still come back into this, but losing additional Overlords is not going to have a lot of Corsairs out there, so he has to be very careful not to lose, because if you lose those other Corsairs, he's not really going to have that much defense against these Mutalisk. Meanwhile, flying back home, nothing but a couple of cannons to defend right here. Seems like something might have died in the middle. A few Corsairs, they're going to be trying to fly back and do a little bit of damage. A lot of Scourge are all around, just blocking those Corsairs. Corsairs finally going to be able to go in. A lot of probes have been taken down. Scourge just trying to get on top of those Corsairs. Look at all that damage by the Mutalisks. That was very bad there for Kal. Oh, man. Wow. Great might have just come back into this game right there. That counter harassment, absolutely beautiful. Kal caught completely out of position with his Corsairs, trying to be aggressive. Instead of being caught completely off guard, yet again, going to be flying back home. A lot of Mutalisks out there, a lot of Corsairs had needed more cannons out there to Archon. No, look at those Corsairs doing a lot of damage. They're taking a lot of damage to those Scourge, but still, a lot of them still in there. Pros being transferred. I think Kal might have actually transferred some of those pros to the natural expansion, so I think he's not quite as bad off as I thought he was, but still not in the best of positions. All that harassment is going to be forced to put down back defenses. Great also has spent a lot of resources on base defenses. 3 sunken colonies that eat natural expansion. Nice. Some very nice sim cities, so the forces can't just run in, but that's what Kal's going to try to do. There are a lot of sunken colonies here. Not quite sure that this attack is actually wise. Trying to get in through. Drone's trying to block off. Archon coming here, doing his little bit of damage to everything. And Zealot's going to try to kill as many drones as possible. Seems like they might want to retreat. They're not going to fully go for it because as soon as those Mutos go in there and the Archon a little bit damaged, don't want to engage that. One Zealot seems to have stayed behind kind of as a decoy, so the rest can go and fight another day. But it's hard to call at this point. Corsairs do have weapons once. They can definitely fight those Mules toe-to-toe. But he doesn't have... He has a fairly large count, despite actually only having one target to produce from. He's been producing one target constantly. So that's very nice. A lot of Scourge out there on the opposite side for Great. And the problem is that the longer this goes on, the more economy rate's going to be going. Because he's still on 3 bases, working on his 4th. His lower hand position doesn't really seem all that saturated from what I can see on the minimap. But he's going to be working on that eventually. He also has that, of course, to produce some forces for him. Mutalisk and Corsairs in a very large number. On the opposite side, we do see Kal has a lot of Archons. That's just a big help. Of course, they're not very maneuverable, and Mutalisk's not the best idea to engage Archons unless they, split up. But even then, not really the best of ideas. But if they're in a group, if they're in a group like all huddled together, 1 or 2 Archon shots will do a tremendous amount of damage. It just completely cripples the force of Mutalisk. Look at all those Corsairs that Kal is building up, working on more. On armor upgrades, I think might be working on actually range upgrades on the Dragoons rather than armor upgrades on those Corsairs, because you need the Fleet Beacon to continue weapons to upgrade. So I think rather than armor one, he might be going for Dragoon range before that, or just quickly. And adding in Dragoons here is going to help him a little bit against these Mutos. Meanwhile, now back home, going to get caught off guard again. A couple of cannons that defend not too much. Overall, Corsairs are going to be flying back home. Mutos coming in here, spotting 3 cannons, deciding, you know what, this maybe not be the best idea. Sees also some assault coming in here. That was Dragoon range indeed, so Kal gonna try to just force through. Not a lot of ground forces. I really don't know when he churned out all these Dragoons, but it was brilliant. Storms also coming in, storming the Hydras. Not all Hydras to defend. Dragoons just trying to attack from range, take all these sunken colonies before anything else. Noodle's gonna try to come in. Corsairs are in the air right now. If they manage to take out the Corsairs, meant to avoid Corsairs completely, they're gonna take a lot of Corsair damage. Some of the Scourge, however, not in the right position. So Corsairs gonna be able to engage the Mutalisk. Very nice. I'm not quite sure whether they're gonna be able to come out ahead though. Couple Archons that are on the ground. They're focusing on something completely different. The Mutalisk gonna be forced back. A lot of Corsairs engaging them. I do apologize if I'm talking too fast. That's just what happens when I get all excited. I go to Clazart mode. Ooh, one High Templar there just gonna get kind of just stuck there. Getting one storm off. You were showing the fangirl when you should have been showing the High Templar dying and storming before it did. Much cooler than fangirls. Seriously. More Overlord's gonna die. But Kal still, economy-wise, not the best. Hive is on the way. He's still in on 2 bases, and I think he realizes this. He's thinking, all right, I got to try to do damage now. I can expand soon enough, but I got to do damage now. And he does have to do damage now. Unfortunately, he's attacking with nothing but Dragoons, and Zerg is just going to eat those alive. He is finally expanding at the knockout position. I'm thinking he's hoping that it doesn't get spotted. Not quite sure whether Muto spotted that or not. Still did not manage to penetrate to the natural expansion enough to be able to take on that hatchery because of those ridiculous amount of sunken colonies that have been put up by Hades / Great / something / the good Samson Khan Zerg / forward dash and triple lemony snicket. I don't know. I get confused. Okay, final Corsairs production has been halted. Kal now working on that big ground army he's working for. And I'm a little bit surprised by that 9 position being put up. It's a little bit further from his base. Hard to defend. Usually we'd see that mineral only being put up, but that's very much out in the open. It doesn't have a choke to defend itself in, so he's kind of hoping to use that as advantage, kind of just bunker himself in that 9 position, put up some cannons, and defend that way, maybe a couple High Templar. And at this point, he does have a Robo. So wondering if this I can go for body support bay and add some Reavers to this. He has some DTs out there, some High Templar. Already has a very nice army. I don't think he has the economy to support additional tech routes, though. I think he should just keep churning out what he has already. It seems like already that 9 o'clock position has been spotted. A bunch of cannons on the way. If there's only one pylon powering that, that's going to be a big target. But the 9 o'clock position is being put up. He's going to want to defend that very safe. He does have a shuttle, and I assume it has a radar. Probably High Templar, actually. What am I talking about? Did not see robotic support, but he just does not have the economy to support Reavers right now. But he still has some of those Archons, some of those Zealots. Corsairs are going to just fly around. That shuttle's going to be very slow. Going to try to do a little bit of damage. There's going to be a storm right here. Drones laid off the line. DTs, actually, not High Templar drops. DTs, they're going to be focusing, trying to take on the second. The hatchery is going to be the main victim right here. No Overlords in vicinity. That hatchery is going to go down. That is a very nice attack here. Instead of taking the drone, just going straight for the heart of the economy. Corsairs flying around, trying to pick up as many Overlords as possible. Does he still? He has one more High Templar in there. Huge group of drones being taken down. The Corsairs also taking a lot of damage. Beautiful harassment there from Kal, though. That was a huge amount of drones. Oh my god, the DTs have kind of ran themselves into a corner. They are going to die to that Overlord. The Overlord still no Overlord speed, so the DT is actually trying to dodge around a little bit. One DT still in the corner, and I actually don't think that Great knows about it. That Spire is still very low. If that DT's managed to sneak out past that Overlord, or just even through the Overlord, he might actually manage to pick out that Spire off. That's going to be a big loss. No Scourge to fight in the air, even though that Great is focusing on Hydras right now. Still losing the capacity to create Scourge is going to be pretty bad for him. That means no easy snipes of those Corsairs and shuttles. Still that DT, finally getting spotted there, yeah, and killed. Trying to run, but not doing too much. But still, overall, great harassment there from Kal. Great, exactly the thing he needs to do right now to just continue the harassment. Still think his early game harassment was very nice. He's following it up very nicely. Sacrificing 3 DTs, and I think he might have, I don't think he actually sacrificed the High Templar, but sacrificed 3 DTs for a hatchery. Definitely. I think he even took out a couple of drones, but the hatchery definitely another one. Oh, this one not as successful. Getting a lot of drones there and several Hydras. The drone's a lot more important at this point. That nautical position is defended by a few pylons, a few cannons, and a High Templar. Meanwhile, now going to be seeing the full brunt of Kal's forces. Just not enough economic damage. He's been allowed to do too much, move around way too much. A lot of storms coming in, a lot of Dragoon heavy forces. The Archon's also doing a lot of damage. Nidus Canal's not going to be in time, and no Defilers. That's the important part here for Kal. No Defilers. Awesome Lurkers, but Observers to spot them, but no Defilers. And I think that's going to be pretty much what has cost the game here. I'm not sure if Defiler Tech was on the way or what. It was on the way, but Defiler's coming a little bit late. The hatchery has to go down, though. If it doesn't go down, it's going to be pretty bad. DT, meanwhile, on the opposite side, at that lower right-hand main, trying to do as much damage as possible. That attack at the lower left-hand natural expansion did not go quite as well as he hoped, but still some drones standing here at the lower-end position. Final over is going to come here, but hey, no Zergians to kill the DT, so the DT just gets kind of roaming around. I'm wondering if that's an Ultralisk Cavern or Evolution Chamber be put up. Double, okay, just initial hatchery, double Defiler Den, just to get those, churn those upgrades out as quickly as possible, get those spells as quickly as humanly possible. So I won't count Great completely up, simply because Kal's economy is not great. There's a pun in there somewhere. But the mineral-only expansion is going to be put up, and the problem for... Oh, man, the hatchery was so close to going down. The problem for Great here is that despite the fact that he managed to pick off a High Templar like that, and he's losing Mutalisks like that, he's spotting that base, but he just does not have the forces. He can't churn out the forces to go out there and deny those expansion. He's done no damage to the 9 o'clock expansion. He's really just not managed to allow Kal to utilize the full brunt force trauma laser beams, something, Protoss, forces of doom and death and gloom and all that. So overall, for Great just has not had control of this game. He did some nice counter harassment with Mutalisk, thought he had a good chance there, but Kal just managed to hold it back enough, managed to make his own early game harassment count so much that it just sort of made a snowball effect for him, and despite the counter harassment, that snowball effect kind of equaled things out, and then he's just been playing things very nicely. You know, not the best of storms sometimes, but really look at his opponent, nothing but a bunch of cracklings. And when you got nothing but a bunch of cracklings against a big Protoss army, that's just bad. That's not a good position. He has a lot of Defilers, but those are going to be there only for defensive purposes. Corsair's like, I can take this over, I can. No, maybe I can't. Hey, look, there's a Corsair unit. That's my little skin thing on YouTube. I'm a Corsair. Or if it was a Protoss, I would be totally a Corsair pilot. No Corsairs in StarCraft 2. That's why I hate StarCraft 2. No Corsairs means fail. So like all Corsairs had to retire, and like some of them had to start piloting Void Rays and crap instead. Like, oh, what is this piece of junk? Void Rays or something, or Phoenixes. Some of them had to pilot Phoenixes. But this is gonna be yet another big attack here from Kal. Dark Swarms we put up everywhere, but look at all those Storms just blanketing the space where the Dark Swarms are. 4 Dark Swarms, and they're not quite enough. Zerglings on the opposite side going to run in and try to do as much damage as possible, but I think we're going to be seeing the GG anytime here. The hatchery's going to go down momentarily, and all the reinforcements being churned out, they're not enough. And look at all that damage being done under the Dark Swarm, just not enough. Dragoons coming later. You know, hey, we don't do any damage under the Dark Swarm, but, you know, the Zealots do, and the Archons do, and the High Templar do. So there you go. There goes your hatchery. There goes your Natural Expo. Your main's already kind of, yeah, in a lot of trouble as well. So economy-wise, great. I mean, by this point in the game, for it to be equal, he would have had that, need to have had that 6 o'clock position, and those 2 mineral onlys near the 6 o'clock, I think, and near his own base. Great. They're shaking his head just before he GGs. And yeah, add a little insult to injury. Last storm over a bunch of drones. So Kal playing overall great game there. No way I can take the win. Nobody can take the win away from him there. Just great play from Ginchen. Despite that little bit of a mistake of letting his main being harassed quite heavily by Mutalisk, he just was at all times in control of that game. Going for very nice assaults on the ground. And just doing nice timing attacks and taking complete control of the game, which on this map is very difficult, but from his early game pressure, just managed to utilize that and do what was needed. So very nice play from him. Nice third set. Hey, GG guys, wrenching up, assisting. Hope you enjoyed.